The reality of the most surprising collaboration in the history of basketball has been made public at last. Additionally, it's going to alter everything we believe to be true regarding the sport. Sophie, Caitlin Clark, three names are Cunningham, Larry Bird, and something no one anticipated seeing together, recently made the announcement that has everyone in the basketball world talking with amazement and astonishment when the biggest star in the WNBA teams up with of its fiercest competitors and couples with an NBA Hall of Fame celebrity. You are aware of something remarkable is going to occur. However, what might perhaps bring these three basketballs symbols collectively? What project might be thus important that this was necessary? Unprecedented cooperation. The consequences of this collaboration could transform women's basketball indefinitely and generate chances that were overlooked approaching. The company Caitlin Clark founded herself as the most transforming WNBA player in history. Her influence on the scope of women's basketball goes well beyond figures, as she has independently generated millions of new admirers for the sport and produced previously unheard audience for television. The impact of Clark penetrates all facets of the WNBA, from retail and ticket sales income from television contracts. Additionally, she attendance at games regularly sells out venues that had previously had trouble with attendance, as well as her social media accounts beyond that of many well-known professional athletes throughout every sport. Sophie Cunningham is an example of the spirit of competition and the experience of leadership that characterizes excellence in the WNBA, with the Phoenix Mercury as a player. Cunningham has established herself as among the league's most persistent, clutch players and defenders, providing as an essential component of championship-chasing teams. Cunningham's style of play reflects the physical aggression that has defined the professional lives of women basketball's development over time. Her readiness to accept tasks against the top players in the league and her outspoken court leadership has made her a well-liked person in both opponents as well as teammates. The work of Larry Bird's reputation as one of the best basketball players and the most prosperous business people offers unmatched credibility and familiarity with any basketball-related attempt. He won 3 NBA titles as one of the Boston Celtics players, and his later achievement as a leader with the Indiana Pacers show off his concept of basketball excellence at the greatest levels. The LLing of Arwin the WNBA season was determined by Archer Safe by Caitlin Clark's revolutionary presence. As her first campaign broke in television and attendance records, numbers of viewers and merchandise sales around the league, her influence produced a phenomena and culture that went well beyond the conventional basketball fans. Clark's capacity to create coverage in the mainstream media for women's basketball is a metaphor for conflict, significant change in the way that sports are viewed and ingested by the general public. Games that frequently feature Clark appeared on Prime on major sports networks. Her highlights and time programming turned into social media content that went viral and attracted millions of views. The financial ramifications of Clark's presence has been astounding. For the WNBA's league earnings rise drastically as a result of her turning on marketability. Business backers who, having previously expressed little interest in women's basketball, got its start in an act of looking for collaborations and advertising chances. The way she plays, which blends a remarkable shooting range with inventive passing skills, has affected the way that young players approach skill improvement and has sparked a fresh 6 basketball players in one generation to play professional basketball for women as a feasible professional route. There are queries on how Clark's impact could keep growing outside of her playing career and the potential prospects that exist in order to use her fame to bring about long-lasting improvements in women's sports and the culture of basketball in general. Sophie Cunningham has played in the WNBA for 5 years, characterized by her unwavering work ethic, defensive vigor, and capacity to perform during pivotal times for championship-chasing teams. Her part as an experienced leader has evolved into growing significance as the league changes and new players join professional basketball. Cunningham's strategy for the game is the conventional WNBA basketball values: physical protection, a focus on the team, and a resolute dedication to victory. Her readiness to take on challenging defensive tasks and her vocal during games leadership has gained esteem around the league. Her experience performing with some of the best WNBA players, such as Diana Brittany, Greer, and Taurasi with the Phoenix Mercury, has given her access to information about the championship level, the mindset, and basketball culture need for long-term success on a professional level. The difference between Cunningham's viewpoint as a veteran and Clark's status as a rookie sensation generates a fascinating dynamic that might offer insightful information about the development of women's careers, basketball, and the connection between both well-known athletes and up-and-coming talents. Legal professionals question if veterans Cunningham and similar players could be used as links between various generations of WNBA athletes. Is Afari supporting the upkeep of competitive norms while accepting the modifications that recent celebrities like Clark delivered to the league? The work of Larry Bird among the basketball credentials are 3 NBA titles, 3 straight MVP honors, Renault, and acknowledgement as one of the best basketball players history. His level of competition and period was distinguished by basketball intellect, of NBA brilliance and established requirements for professional basketball accomplishment. After he performed career, Bird's executive success while playing with the Indiana Pacers showed his the capacity to assess potential, develop competitive groups, and negotiate the intricate commercial facets of a professional basketball. His guidance was beneficial. Make the Pacers a reliable team, regarded in a playoff candidate franchise. The relationship between Bird and Indiana as he grew up, basketball culture permeated his life. In the state and thereafter worked as the Pacers executive and coach arrangement. His comprehension of basketball customs and fandom in Indiana expectations give important background information for any projects pertaining to basketball within the Pledgen. His standing as integrity, superiority in competition, and his basketball acumen makes him a reliable source for assessing ability and giving basketball advice, growth and career advancement chances in the sport. The consequences might indicate that Bird's participation in any basketball-related project would immediately lend credibility and draw in serious basketball fans who value his accomplishments and discernment. The convergence of NBA and WNBA players' legends is a trend that is becoming more popular toward cooperation and assistance between men's and professional basketball for women. This evolution is a reflection of shifting perspectives on the worth and caliber of women's basketball in comparison to traditional basketball viewers. Prominent endorsements and NBA legends' endorsements lend legitimacy to women's basketball as perceived by casual admirers who may have previously disregarded the WNBA as being beneath amusement. These collaborations produce chances for cross-promotion and audiences in common. The commercial prospects generated by fusing NBA and WNBA star power credibility could lead to income streams and sponsorship agreements that surpass what either party could do on their own. Business sponsors appreciate genuine collaborations that extend various audiences. Networks of television and content benefits media companies that appeals to both conventional basketball enthusiasts and the expanding viewership for sports involving women. Programming the includes both WNBA and NBA players, can draw in more viewers and increased rates of advertising. Queries emerge of how these cooperative connections could have an impact on the growth of basketball for women and whether assistance from NBA players could quicken the increase in attendance. You understand the number of viewers and financial prosperity for the WNBA, one region where Clark's combination, Cunningham's competitiveness and popularity expertise, as well as Bird's basketball knowledge could have a big influence, involves growth of young basketball and coaching education, initiatives that benefit youthful athletes at every level of the athletics. High-quality basketball is necessary. Programs for mentoring and instruction have expanded with the involvement of young people. Parents and young gamers look for genuine guidance from those who have attained the greatest heights of success of basketball's professional leagues. Clark's the capacity to motivate young athletes, especially young ladies, in conjunction with Cunningham's comprehension of growth of competition and Bird's understanding of the basics of basketball, could lead to all-encompassing development, programs that focus on both abilities, growth, and a spirit of competition. The credibility and financial resources necessary to initiate large-scale development of basketball initiatives frequently surpass what particular players are capable of supply. Forming alliances between several basketball players an appealing method for producing programs that are sustainable. Legal professionals observe that programs for juvenile development need meticulous preparation, appropriate licenses, and thorough insurance protection. Making the participation of knowledgeable basketball players are essential for establishing authentic and efficient chances for schooling, where the amusement value of blending the personalities of various basketball eras and levels produce prospects for engaging content for TV networks, streaming platforms, as well as social media firms. Businesses looking to acquire basketball audiences from a variety of demographic backgrounds. Clark's enormous fan base on social media, paired with the deference that Cunningham and Bird are in charge of, devoted basketball fans could produce significant audience size for the documentary projects, educational materials, or programming that is competitive and includes their cooperation. The narrative possibility of assembling a novice sensation, an experienced athlete, and a legendary character's craft stories. Chances that might be of interest to both casual sports and basketball purists, consumers of entertainment who appreciate material motivated by personality. Manufacturing businesses and media outlets have demonstrated growing enthusiasm for women's sports content. Wrote specific projects that have identifiable personalities and genuine basketball legitimacy instead of staged drama or dispute. There are inquiries regarding how media collaborations could be set up to equitably recompense everyone, confer participants in the process of developing information that truly depicts their basketball knowledge and upholds the honesty of their work. Reputations of power. The advertisement possibility of integrating 3 identifiable basketball players with various audience appeals could result in chances for product endorsements. Commercial endeavors. as well as corporate collaborations that take advantage of their commercial reach and overall trustworthiness. Authenticity is valued by corporate sponsors. Collaborations with athletes who have shown greatness and continued to favorable public perceptions. The mix of current WNBA players and legends of the NBA gives businesses possibilities aiming to connect with both conventional and new viewers for basketball. The growth of basketball-related goods, instructional materials, or instructional resources could profit from the combination. Marketing and expertise strength of those who have achieved at many professional levels a game of basketball. Rail prospects and sales of merchandise could be improved by collaborations that showcase several basketball personalities, especially when those relationships comprise both men's and figures in women's basketball who are appealing to various market niches. The consequences might indicate that joint business endeavors could produce more significant income and market influence as opposed to individual endorsement agreements, establishing long-term sources of income for each individual. The increasing financial success and cultural women's basketball's significance has opened up new possibilities for alliances, joint ventures, and business endeavors that were non-existent in earlier female generations' professional athletics. The rise in awareness and legitimacy of women's basketball has garnered backing from well-known personalities in men's basketball who acknowledge the caliber of play and the WNBA's entertainment value offers to bundle television contracts. Sponsorship, agreements, and press attention for basketball for women have arrived at historically high levels, generating financial chances that make cooperation. WNBA players are appealing to business associates and other athletes. The change in culture toward the world encouragement of women's sports has established a setting where relationships between men and women athletes are seen favorably by viewers and sponsors that appreciate equality and regard for one another. In sports, legal professionals went whether the current wave of women's rights basketball could bring about long-lasting effects in the same that sports collaborations are organized, and if cooperative undertakings could become commonplace, strategies for optimizing commercial chances. Well-known athletes frequently look for chances to create favorable influence on the community through charity endeavors, educational initiatives, as well as mentorship possibilities that make use of their platform and resources for the benefit of society instead than solely for business reasons. The mix of local relationships, national acclaim, as well as basketball knowledge could foster a sense of community. Initiatives that meet the demands of education, youth, athletic development, and mentoring in ways that are specific to each efforts may not be successful. Clark's appealed to youthful athletes. Cunningham's competitive background as well as Bird's combining business savvy could establish facilities and scholarship programs, enhancements or coaching instruction, projects that benefit basketball communities at various degrees. The legitimacy and assets derived from including several reputable basketball numbers could draw in more money with assistance from institutions and people who wish to make contributions to community and youth development attempts toward improvement. There are queries regarding the ways in which community impact programs might be set up to produce long-term gain while permitting everyone participants to offer their distinct abilities and knowledge to make a significant societal causes. Coaching and training camps, clinics, and educational initiatives that include a number of basketball specialists. It might bring in money while offering beneficial services to communities for basketball that might not otherwise be able to obtain expert-level education. The consequences would imply that educational efforts could offer long-term employment prospects for retired individuals and existing players while establishing long-lasting influence on the growth of basketball and coaching effectiveness. The landscape of basketball comprises growing incorporating technologies for performance, evaluation, and ability growth, as well as fan interaction. Collaborations between esteemed basketball players could produce chances to grow in encouraging creative basketball technologies. Apps for training, software for performance analysis, and platforms for education could gain from the authority and knowledge that originates from incorporating knowledge basketball officials in the product marketing and development initiatives. The expanding market for products related to basketball digital content and technology produce chances for its collaborations that blend your understanding of basketball with business knowledge to create goods that benefit athletes, coaches, and supporters. Mobile devices, virtual reality training systems applications, as well as online learning emerging markets are represented by platforms where business and basketball knowledge combining intelligence could result in useful goods and services lawful according to analysts. Technology partnerships need to be carefully issues of intellectual property and agreements for income sharing that safeguard everyone involved in the creation long-term business plans for inventive goods. The possibility of cooperation between current WNBA players and NBA legends stand for wider modifications to the way basketball, how partnerships are established. There are chances to maximize the effect of sports. The accomplishment of any collaboration with Clark, Bird, and Cunningham would probably impact the way other pool players explore prospects for collaboration, and if such endeavors proliferate strategies for starting a business and impact on the community. that changing the business environment for women's basketball keeps coming up with fresh prospects for collaborations. Sponsorships as well as unsuccessful ventures occur in earlier female generations professional athletics. There are still questions regarding how these cooperative connections could have an impact on the growth of basketball-related queries, culture, and whether collaborations between various basketball periods and levels may become commonplace methods for making an influence that lasts. Indeed, the implications might imply that the present timeframe is an important time to create fresh models of athletic cooperation that might aid basketball players, supporters, and the game communities for many years to come. If you're as thrilled about this surprising partnership as it is, feel free to like this video, put your ideas in the remarks. How do you feel about this? Working together with Caitlin Clark, Larry Bird, and Sophie Cunningham could achieve. Do you think partnerships are important between the NBA and the WNBA figures aid in the expansion of women's basketball? We would like to know your thoughts on how these basketball greats could be useful collectively. Next, select subscribe and click the bell to ensure that our coverage is not missed of this unfolding narrative and its consequences on the game of basketball. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for viewing.